Do Trump and Biden represent different views and policies on Israel, or are they simply two sides of the same shekel? With the US elections fast approaching in 2024, it's now more likely than ever that the election race will be between Trump of the Republicans and Biden of the Democrats. As we know, the presidency is confined to these two main parties. In fact, the last time a president didn't represent these two parties was 174 years ago. That's in 1850, when Millard Fillmore was elected. Isn't it ironic then that while America tries to export democracy around the world, saying the people must be in charge, we have a situation where in America it doesn't really allow the people to make the decisions. They're not really in charge. Rather, the choices are preset. It's like going to a restaurant and being told you can eat anything off the menu, yet when the menu is presented, it just has pork, bacon and ham, or from a pig. What kind of choice is that? Similarly, the US says you can choose so long as it's between the different shades of capitalism. It's like Henry Ford said, you can have any color of car so long as it's black. But is this the case when it comes to the American policy towards Israel? Are there clear differences beyond just simply rhetoric between Biden and Trump? Let's take a look. One of the biggest policy decisions is military aid to Israel. Since Israel's inception, America has given approximately $300 billion. The vast majority of this goes directly to the military. Since Obama's era, through to Trump's presidency and now Biden's presidency, the amount of military aid has remained consistently paid to Israel each year at roughly $3.8 billion per year. This was part of the aid package agreed during Obama's presidency and wasn't rescinded by Trump. In fact, Biden had agreed provisionally to continue providing Israel a $4 billion per year till at least 2028. While Trump, when he was president, undertook spending cuts, there was one spending he never cut. Guess which one that was? Obviously, military aid to Israel. Therefore, to expect any difference if Trump, gets back into power seems unjustified. As they say, the best way to predict future events is to observe past behaviors. During Trump's presidency, he famously moved the US embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Tel Aviv is the official capital of Israel, while what the Zionists and Israel really wants, the entirety of Jerusalem to be part of Israel and then claim it as a capital city for Israel.
But I think it's okay the US does move the embassy over here, because this is after all capital. In Israel, ask every kid, what's our capital? It's Jerusalem.
So moving the US embassy was politically significant and thus gives the impression that America sees Jerusalem, at least implicitly, as Israel's capital. So is there a policy difference that is unique to Donald Trump? Well, Democrats have also stated their desire to move the US embassy to Jerusalem. As far back as 1992, Bill Clinton had announced that he would also wanted to move the embassy to Jerusalem. When he actually came into power, he didn't, but the desire was there. Then Bush also said he wanted to do this, but again didn't enact that particular policy.
As soon as I take office, I will begin the process of moving the United States ambassador to the city of Israel, as chosen as its capital.
And even Obama, the great man of peace and hope, said,
and Jerusalem will remain the capital of Israel, and it must remain undivided.
Jerusalem will remain the capital of Israel and it must remain an undivided city. Why is that significant? Because East Jerusalem is meant to be considered part of Palestinian territory, and therefore Israel's occupation of East Jerusalem is considered an occupation and therefore illegal. To say it's undivided, therefore, is to claim that all of it is not only the capital of Israel, but all of it is Israel as well. So Trump didn't actually do anything different that wasn't already planned or was desired by previous Democratic and Republican presidents of the past. In fact, Biden himself has sought to consolidate the embassy by building a permanent embassy in Jerusalem, making the structure permanent. The specific area is called Allenby Barracks, named after the British general who occupied Jerusalem and Palestine during World War I. This area was later confiscated by Israel after ethnically cleansing the region of the original inhabitants, either Palestinian. Israel has continued to expand its settlements into the West Bank, even though internationally it's considered occupied territory. Yet neither the Democrats nor the Republicans have ever done anything to oppose this. During Trump's presidency, he never said anything about the settlements, which, by the way, doesn't mean we should therefore recognize that only the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem are the only occupied territories. The reality is, Israel is a settler colonial project threat, and its occupation is the entire region, not just post-1967. But that's for another video to explain that further. Biden's administration, on the other hand, have made some criticisms of the expansion of Israeli settlements, calling them deeply troubling, concerning, or that it damages the two-state solution, or that it may raise tension. But in terms of actual policy change to force or to sanction Israel over its expansion of their colonial settlements, then neither Trump nor Biden or any previous American president has ever done that. For example, what they could do is halt military aid or place economic sanctions. So the choice is Trump not saying anything or doing anything, or Biden having said something but still not doing anything about it. It's just rhetorical difference then. Trump has made it clear he supports a two-state solution. This is also something that Biden also affirmed often.
Are you going to say something about the sovereignty?
I like two-state solution. Yeah,
Mr. President, what
that's
do you
what I
think?
think. That's what I think works best. I don't even have to speak to anybody. That's my feeling.
As we look to the future, the only real solution to the situation is a two-state solution over time.
But it's deceptive when people talk about two-state solution, because there's 4 key problems when it comes to establishing a two-state solution. Firstly, what's the actual boundaries of the Palestinian state? Because at the moment, Zionist settlements permeate throughout the whole of the West Bank. So this call for a pre-1967 two-state solution doesn't seem workable unless you get rid of almost 700,000 Zionists from the region. Secondly, do the Palestinians have a right to return? Trump often would say no, or his administration would say no, when a resolution would come up or to be passed in the United Nations. But Biden, like Obama before him, would simply abstain from the vote in the United Nations on this question, which again shows little difference beyond rhetorical differences between Biden on the one hand, who would abstain from a vote, and Trump on the other hand saying no. The third issue is the status of Jerusalem, which both Trump and Biden have effectively endorsed Israeli claims by moving and consolidating the US embassy there. And fourthly is the security control of any future Palestinian state. For example, do Palestinians have the right to control their borders or their airspace? Would they be able to build their own military? Anyways, the point is that while both Biden and Trump say yes to a two-state solution, they don't seek to actively solve these 4 problems, and in fact either tacitly support or actively support Israel's control and consolidation over these 4 particular issues. It's pretty clear America wants to get Israel recognized by other Arab states, Saudi in particular. During Trump's period in office, we had the treacherous Abraham Accords, where UAE, Bahrain and Sudan would formally recognize Israel. While Sudan haven't formally ratified this process yet within their own country, the other 2 have firmly normalized themselves with Israel. As for Biden, he wants to get the big prize of getting Saudi to recognize and normalize with Israel too.
Mohammed bin Salman discusses what seemed unlikely just a few years ago: normal diplomatic relations with Israel.
For us, the Palestinian issue is very important. We need to solve that part, and we have a good negotiations continue. Till now, we gotta see where it will go.
So you think, if you were to characterize it, are you close?
Every day we get closer.
And it would have worked except for those pesky Palestinians on October 7th. So while it's on the back burners, everyone knows that Saudi will follow America's desire for them to normalize with Israel. It's just a matter of waiting for the opportune time. You know, when things calm down, when things are settled and the eyes of the media and the eyes of the focus of the people move away from Gaza and Palestine. And then maybe Saudi will come out and make a formal recognition of Israel. Even on the question of October 7th, both Biden and Trump agree Israel has the right to enact its massacre, calling it, obviously, euphemistically, self-defense.
Brutal murder of citizens is an act of savagery that must and will be crushed. It has to be dealt with very powerfully.
Israel has the right to defend itself and its people. Full stop.
As we have seen, America under Biden has been fully willing to provide military support, with the military aid still going to Israel, as well as providing diplomatic cover for Israel while it enacts its horrendous crimes. Look, when it comes to key questions between Biden and Trump, it seems absolutely clear neither of them have any real policy differences. But we shouldn't really be surprised and expect any different. Both Trump and Biden are simply following the exact same policies and approach as previous American presidents have done for decades now. This doesn't mean that America just sheepishly follows Israel in everything and that the Zionists and Israel control America. No, there are policy differences, and I will explain this in another video. But let's be clear, between Trump and Biden, there's no choice or difference between the two. They are literally two sides of the same shekel.